Well, by most forecasts, oil will hit $100 a barrel this year, and it could rise past that depending on demand and also the global recovery. Ira Epstein, director of Ira Epstein Division of the Lind Group, joins us now from the CME in Chicago. Ira, Happy New Year. And it is going to be it's going to be an interesting one for crude, something that really hasn't gotten enough attention lately. We're already around 92 a barrel. What's your call for crude in 2011?
I hate to join the crowd, but I'm right with where they're at. And I look at it with increased demand coming out of China, India, Pakistan, the U.S. Let's bet that the U.S. QE2 works and that our economy picks up and that we pick up a bit of driving going into the spring. Why not $100 crude? The problem we all know is if gasoline gets too high, then we start cutting back on the economy. There is a ripple effect that takes place.
So where is that price point, right? Where the average is right around $3 a gallon right now. We're not close yet to $4.11 a gallon, that record that we saw not too long ago. What's the point when Americans do pull back on their driving and therefore do pull back on the demand?
I think it realistically is in the 350s right now.
Okay.
And that number can go up, not down. It depends if people are employed. The more people working, the better they feel. Oh, what the heck, a nickel a gallon here, a nickel a gallon there. But then you start cutting back on other items. And as you do that cutback, that hurts the economy because there's been studies for each penny in gasoline, how much the ripple effect is. And it's going to force public transportation, which is something the QE2 wants to occur. So there we are. That's a way to really get it going.
The U.S. picture here is only part of it. The China demand, that's a huge part of this with rising middle class in China. At least the boom we're seeing now. We haven't seen a burst, if there is a bubble in China yet. How much does the China demand picture play in here, Ira?
I think you have to look at this as the decade, not a year, as the decade where China grows up. China began last year, became a powerhouse, but if you go to China and you go into the countryside, you do see how rural it is and how the infrastructure needs to be built up. I mean, we see their high-speed trains going through the country, but then you'll go into certain villages and you'd swear you're back 100 years. So things are changing now, and they're going to continue to change. So I think you have to have the broad outlook of how many people are there, what the power is of their demand on the market, and as automobiles are built that are cheap to afford, it will support much higher gasoline, much higher energy costs.
But let's not forget about the massive push by the Obama administration, by individual companies, by some oil companies themselves, towards alternative energy sources. That will be front and center again in 2011. We may or may not have energy reform in this country, but how much is that going to play in, or is that just too small a factor to really affect the overall price of crude?
I don't think it's too small. I think it's got now the traction. I know where I parked my car right by the Chicago Mercantile. We, for the first time, have the charging stations already in the parking lots. They're there. And you're seeing them pop up in different parts of the city. Now the cars are coming. They're introducing the first Volts, and then I think the smart cars got an electric car. BMW's got them. They're coming. But the reality is they're not really affordable. They're a novelty. They're like the Prius was at the very beginning. It's going to be a novel venture that has to catch traction. Does it work is going to be the key. Will people spend a couple of $1,000s on their garage or wherever they live to put in a charging station?
Can people spend that with unemployment this high?
No, not at the beginning. And every day I drive by the charging station here in Chicago, not one car is in the charging station. So the answer is it's a novelty. And as a novelty, we first have to deliver the cars, see who's going to buy them, and can they get the price of these down? That's going to be the big $64 question. It's there, but do you really need it?